Thousands turn out to honour a convicted killer. They're here in support of a man called Mumtaz Qadri, executed last year for murdering a high-profile Pakistani politician who was trying to reform the country's blasphemy laws.
The authorities executed Mumtaz Qadri on the 29th of February last year, perhaps thinking the fact it was a leap year would make it harder for his supporters to commemorate his death. It doesn't seem to have worked. The figure of Mumtaz Qadri and the issue of blasphemy have become symbolic of the tensions at the heart of Pakistan's identity.
Earlier in the week, we visited the shrine that houses Mumtaz Qadri's tomb. They're also constructing a mosque and a seminary here. Built with donations from the public, it receives a steady stream of visitors of all ages. Mumtaz Qadri was a police bodyguard who shot the politician he was meant to be looking after, but his supporters don't see him as a traitor, rather as someone who died trying to preserve Pakistan's Islamic character, exemplified in their view by a law that holds blasphemy punishable by death.
यानी अपना माल, अपनी जान, अपने वालिदैन, अपनी औलाद, ये सारी चीज़ें एक साइड पर रख कर तो एक हस्ती के लिए मतलब अपना सब कुछ कुर्बान कर देना जो कि एक हकीकत है।
जी ये अल्लाह के वली हैं, अल्लाह के नेक बंदे हैं, उनके दरबार पे आए हैं हम ताकि इनके वसीले से हमारी भी बख्शिश हो सके।
The adoration for Mumtaz Qadri is matched by a hatred of politicians. Today at the rally in honour of Mumtaz Qadri, speakers railed against the Prime Minister and the opposition, portraying them both as anti-Islam.
For the crowds gathered here, blasphemy isn't just a religious issue, it's a political one. This is a kind of a populist movement dedicated to opposing what they see as a more secular, liberal political establishment.
Dr. Ashraf Jalali is one of the leading figures in the anti-blasphemy movement. He sees himself as part of a battle for Pakistan's soul.
तमाम लादीन कुव्वतें वो मुल्क से बाहर हों या अंदर हों वो पाकिस्तान के इस्लामी तशख़्ख़ुस को मिटाना चाहते हैं और हम पाकिस्तान के इस्लामी तशख़्ख़ुस आइडेंटिटी ऑफ पाकिस्तान वी डिफेंस दिस आइडेंटिटी इस्लामिक आइडेंटिटी यानी इस्लामी तशख़्ख़ुस का हम दिफा कर रहे हैं और इंशाअल्लाह पाकिस्तान के इस्लामी तशख़्ख़ुस के दिफा के लिए हम अपनी जानें दे देंगे मगर ये मुल्क जो है चूँकि मज़हब की बुनियाद पर बना है इस्लाम की बुनियाद पर बना है हम लिबरल्स को और सेकुलर्स को ये मुल्क हरगिज़ नहीं छीनने देंगे।
Over the past decade, globalization has brought Western culture more visibly to Pakistan, with a growing number of shopping malls, cinemas and cable TV channels. That's accentuated cultural divisions within the country.
Controversy surrounding blasphemy law is also represent the divide which we have in our society, and I think that divide is right, with the establishment Pakistan as a post-colonial state, because I think there are people who feel that the Pakistan should become a democratic secular country, and there are others who believe that the Pakistan should become a theocratic state, and I think that is consistently, I think there is no consensus in the society what the state, the nature of state should be in the context of Pakistan. And blasphemy law actually it sharpens that divide in a society.
Whilst the religious right complain they're being marginalised, it's often the most vulnerable in society that are affected by blasphemy laws. Mumtaz Qadri's victim was Salman Taseer. He was speaking out in favour of a Christian woman sentenced to death for supposedly committing blasphemy in an argument with local women in her village. Since he was murdered, she's remained in jail. An appeal due to take place last year was delayed, and her family fear judges are too afraid to hear the case.
ਵੇਖੋ ਜੀ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹ ਮਾੜੀ ਜੀ ਉਹ ਤਰੀਕ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਆ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਜਲਸੇ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਮਸਲਾ ਇਹ ਆ ਕਿ ਜੇ ਅਦਾਲਤ खुदा ने किया तो उन्हें छड़ना भी है वो इधर पाकिस्तान में रह है कि तो जिंदा नहीं रह सकेगी उसको ये लोग जो उन्होंने उसको मार देंगे।
There's also now growing concern that allegations of blasphemy are being used to discredit critics of the state. In January this year, a group of liberal activists were abducted. Many believe the intelligence services were responsible. As crowds gathered demanding their release, a counter-campaign sprang up accusing them of blasphemy. Since they were freed, none of them have been willing to say who detained them. But one, now out of Pakistan, agreed to speak about the impact of the allegations on him and his family.
I can't go back. I had to flee the country like a criminal for the things which I never did. So I have to replan my whole life.
And why was this done, do you think?
This is the best way to discredit and disgrace someone in a society where any allegation regarding religion is taken so seriously. So in future you say something, you do something, you are already discredited in the eyes of people. So people always see you like, he is that dubious person who was engaged in blasphemy.
Next year, Pakistan will hold a general election, and Mumtaz Qadri's supporters are launching their own political party. Whilst unlikely to gather many seats, they'll make it difficult for anyone to challenge prevailing notions of blasphemy.